to Attack of the Remakes here on Reaction and Review. Tonight, guys, I'm checking out a film from 2014. That movie is RoboCop. Now, I got two things I gotta say before we dive into this movie proper. The first one is, I totally understand that what I am about to watch is not technically a remake and is really more of a reboot. I totally understand that. And I understand that as many people have asked me to cover this movie and that movie over the course of this month, I've shot down a lot of them because they were reboots instead of remakes, and covering this thing goes completely against the rules I set for this month. But guess what? It's my series, it's my rules, and I will do whatever the hell I want. Anyway, beyond that, the other point I want to make is, I guess I have to kind of come out and say this. I am a huge RoboCop fan. I understand, guys, I hide that fact incredibly well, and some of you probably had no idea that I'd even seen RoboCop, much less love it, because I hide that fact so fucking well. But yes, I not only love RoboCop, I'm also a fan of both sequels. Granted, I understand that the third one is kind of shit, but it's still watchable, goofy, cheesy fun. So I have hopes going into this because I always have hopes for anything fucking RoboCop. And I do remember the trailers for this thing back in 2014, and it looked really interesting. So I do have hope going in. I am hoping for this movie to be at least halfway decent. But the only way, guys, I'm going to find out if this thing is any good at all is if I shut up and I push play. And I'm going to do that right now. So, without further ado, it's time to kick back, relax, and check out RoboCop. Alright, guys, I know this is a really trivial thing, but I've gotten a look at this movie's version of Ed 209. I'm really not liking the new fucking look. I honestly can't even put my fucking finger on it. There's just something about these new Ed 209s. I'm just not digging it. And I really wish I could put my finger on exactly what it is that bothers me about them. But they just don't look right, man. I would just like to say, guys, right now that I found a little bit of a problem with this movie. Murphy, you know, our main character, our titular character once the incident happens. There's something missing from Murphy here that was in the original RoboCop film, and that's a fucking personality. I have seen bathroom tile with more personality than Alex Murphy is showing in this fucking movie. It's really making it difficult for me to care when he finally gets turned into ground meat and gets dumped into a robo suit. Just saying, guys, if he had even the slightest bit of personality, I might actually care, but he doesn't, and I don't. I'm going to tell you guys, I'm really not caring for this movie. I totally understand that they are trying to tell a totally different story, one that honestly would probably have benefited from not having the RoboCop name affixed to it. But are we going to get anything here that's at all interesting? I mean, I loved the fact that the original RoboCop was essentially about a fucking dystopian future where RoboCop was basically the best in a bad situation in the shittiest city in the U.S. Now, it's just Omnicorp wants to build a half-man, half-machine to tell the senator to fuck off and allow them to put their actual robots on the streets. At least that's the plot so far. And it kinda sucks. Hold on, so they're putting all the CCTV footage into Murphy's brain. There was a CCTV camera pointed directly at his driveway that filmed the car bomb that, you know, turned him into a head, a hand, and a set of fucking lungs? Really? Is it normal? Is it normal for Detroit to put closed-circuit cameras at the end of everybody's driveway, or was it just Murphy's? I'm sorry, guys. I find that really fucking weird, and it's kind of bugging me a little bit. So, let me see if I understand this. I found it weird when there was one closed-circuit camera pointed at Murphy's driveway. but he just scanned the area. There were 4 closed-circuit cameras pointed directly at his driveway when he died. It's not like he lives in the most central urban part of the fucking city. He lives in the suburbs. What fucking suburb needs 4 closed-circuit cameras pointed at the same fucking driveway? I'm sorry, guys. I totally understand that this is trivial and stupid, but it's fucking irritating the shit out of me. It was weird as fuck when there was just 1, but now he just saw 4. And there's still evidence on the driveway from when he blew up, like, months ago. So, wow, just that whole scene just... Wow, this movie was kind of stupid, guys, at first, but just that scene, holy motherfuck, this made it a hell of a lot worse. Holy shit. You know, guys, I think I finally figured out why I don't like the black armor look on fucking RoboCop. I think I finally figured it out. Because when the armor was silver, it actually looked like it was metal. And now that it's tactical and sprayed with a matte black paint, it looks less metal and it looks more plastic. And it makes the whole thing look just kind of cheap and shitty and nowhere near as cool as it did at the start of the film. I understand that he's had the matte black tactical paint job for about 3/4 of the film, but it finally dawned on me why I don't like the fucking look of it, and I just thought I'd share. Well, guys, that was RoboCop, and as much as I'm gonna hate on this movie, as much as I'm gonna shit all over this thing, soundtrack was awesome. I will cover more of that in a second. God, I would love to sit down and just listen to this, but I have shit to do. So, let's talk about this. Before I get started, I have a theory. Alright, I have a very strong theory, and I'm hoping that it sort of holds up. My theory is, this movie didn't start life as a RoboCop movie. I am almost totally convinced that whoever the fuck wrote this thing did not intend for it to be called RoboCop when all was said and done. I say that because it has almost no connection with any previous RoboCop property. Outside of the fact that they renamed a couple of characters, specifically Murphy and Lewis, there is no other real connection here. Okay? They couldn't even call the evil corporation Omni Consumer Products. Instead, it's OmniCorp. Because why the fuck not? There is literally zero connection outside of 2 character names and the fucking city it's based in. That's it. That is literally it. So my thought is, I think that somebody wrote a film with this very story. Probably wasn't even set in Detroit. I am convinced it was probably set in like New York or Chicago or L.A. Just somewhere, any other place, and they just slapped on the RoboCop name. I again, another theory, I think the movie may have been called Tin Man at some point before it got turned into RoboCop. I say that because one character always refers to RoboCop exclusively as Tin Man. So the movie might have originally, in its early script stage, it might have been called Tin Man or Project Tin Man or Operation Tin Man. I'm going to tell you, if it had any of those titles, I probably wouldn't heap as much hate as I am about to dump on it, because it would have then been a 100% original property instead of trying to piggyback on one of my favorite fucking movies of all goddamn time. But no, they wanted to call it RoboCop, so we're going to have a lot of comparisons. So, let's talk about those. Let's talk about the writing. One thing that I loved about RoboCop and what makes the movies so watchable again and again, even RoboCop 3, as bad as that is, it is still watchable because the stories are awesome. The writing is strong. We have fascinating stories, interesting characters. Everything works. And in the case of the first 2 films, we also have razor sharp, biting satire across both both RoboCop and RoboCop 2, and that makes the movies even better. This movie, our characters are kind of interesting. Most of them are. Unfortunately, the story falls completely flat. The story sucks. I'm going to tell you, just straight up, story is shit. I hated this fucking story. Part of it, I think, is because it doesn't really go anywhere. And it really leaves a lot of questions to be asked. For instance, Murphy is first built into RoboCop in China. Apparently Omnicorp has a huge factory in China, and that's where he was built. My question is, how the hell did they get him from Michigan to China when they even told Murphy's wife that she doesn't really have time to choose? She doesn't really have time to think about if they're going to save her husband, because time is a huge factor. So what? Did they take his head, his hand, and his lungs, the shit that they were able to salvage, throw all of it in a cooler and fly it out to fucking China? How the hell does that... I mean, I have that question. I have the question, and I brought it up before, about the closed-circuit TVs around Murphy's home. There's fucking 4 of them, all pointed directly at his fucking driveway, so he had multiple angles of his fucking death. Or, I guess, almost death. And he lives in the suburbs. I don't know any city in the U.S. which has closed-circuit cameras that frequent, okay? London doesn't even have closed-circuit cameras that fucking close to each other, and London is known for having wall-to-wall CCTV cameras. So that part still kind of bothers me. The fact that, again, I'm going to make a comparison here. The very fact that in the original RoboCop was not able to stop any corrupt members of OCP because of the hidden fucking directive, because of Directive 4. Here they wear a bracelet with a little red Christmas fucking light on it, and that programs him to not shoot because they're a red fucking asset. That's fucking lame. Just straight up lame. Okay? In fact, they actually even did the bit where the big villain in the original film it was Dick fucking Jones. Here it's Michael Keaton as someone who wants to be Dick Jones so bad he holds out his hands to be cuffed simply so that way Robo can see the little red Christmas light on his wristband. Fuck that shit. While I'm on the subject of referencing, this movie painfully wants to remind you that it wants to be RoboCop so bad. They threw in a ton of references. I'm going to tell you right now, first and foremost, you could have cut every single reference out. You wouldn't have lost a thing in this fucking movie. All of them are shoehorned in. All of them are forced. All of them feel so unnatural compared to everything else. There were 2 of them. I physically cringed at 2 of the forced references in this movie. One of them was a reference to the famous catchphrase, I'll buy that for $1. I cringed on that. Because again, the line, it felt so forced. And then in the final act, as Robo is staring down Keaton, he then spouts the world-famous line, "Dead or alive, you're coming with me." And it had no weight, it had no impact, it had no feeling. I cringed and wished for death. So, again, my theory about this not originally being a RoboCop film is kind of strong simply on that. God, is there anything else to really talk about with writing? No, because the story's flat and lifeless. The action scenes are decent. Unfortunately, you really don't have a story to bring everything together. The satire that they are trying for here is nowhere near as sharp and nowhere near as biting or witty as what was in RoboCop and RoboCop 2. In fact, I'm going to tell you all the satire this movie has. Are you guys ready for the biting, razor-sharp satire in this film? Samuel L. Jackson plays a cable news host, akin to I'd say like Bill. It'd be like Bill. It's like Bill. Oh, it's like Bill O'Reilly or Rachel fucking Maddow or any of the other retarded talking heads you see on Fox News, MSNBC, CNN in prime time. And basically, the satire is that they are less about actually telling you the news and more about just giving you nothing but propaganda 24/7. Which really isn't satire as much as just noticing fucking obviously noticeable shit. But that's it. That there is as close as we get to anything close to satire is, 24-hour news is all just propaganda and bullshit. Fuck you. God, man, the writing here was fucking terrible. And the worst part about it is that our characters are interesting. Our characters are fleshed out. Our characters would have made for an awesome story if the writer knew what the fuck he was doing. How many people wrote this? I'm curious. Hang on. 3 people. 3 fucking people wrote this. They were able to come up with a bunch of fascinating characters, but they couldn't write a story worth shit. That's nothing shy of shameful. Okay, so the writing here is a fucking mess. What about the acting? Well, the acting, I really don't have any complaints about the acting. However, that's partially because our cast is made up of a bunch of really talented actors. I mean, guys, when you have Gary Oldman and Michael Keaton and Samuel L. Jackson and Jackie Earle Haley and a bunch of others all in the same movie, awesome shit is going to happen. We have a cast who knows what to do. They know how to fucking do it. This cast is talent from top to bottom. Except for our lead. I don't know who the fuck the ass clown is who played Alex Murphy / RoboCop, but the man cannot act, and that is terrible. Look, guys, RoboCop as a character, no matter what the circumstance, no matter what film, always had personality. Now that could be because of how Peter fucking Weller played him. But even in RoboCop 3, when they couldn't get Weller and they got some other fucking jackass, RoboCop still had personality. He was still cool and likable. You know, he was not... even seriously, when RoboCop is supposed to be deadpan and monotone, Weller was able to add enough personality to make the character likable and awesome. This guy, even before Alex Murphy gets turned into a pile of fucking dog food that they pour into a metal suit, he's still just monotone and lifeless and shit and boring, and it sucked. Straight up. They really should have cast somebody else. I don't care who. They could have cast damn near anybody else. As long as they would have cared, the movie would have been fine. But no, they had to cast a guy who frankly is less fucking interesting than Driftwood to play our lead character, and the movie suffers because of it. And that's especially noticeable when the rest of the film's cast is turning in such a fantastic job. It's like everybody else is turning in their absolute best, and then the lead comes sauntering in his matte black suit and drones out his lines. I should also mention that the suit in this movie looks like absolute shit for most of the movie, and that's because they sprayed it with matte black paint, and that makes the whole thing, as I stated earlier, it makes it look plastic instead of metal. I understand that one of the big problems when they made the original RoboCop was lighting the suit, because they didn't know how to light a full metal suit. And they decided that it's easier if you light them less like a person and you light them like a fucking car. And then everything was perfect. Here, instead of going the extra, going like the extra mile to tell the fucking lighting guy to light our title character the way that you would light a car, just slap him in a matte black suit and just fucking claim it's tactical. Fuck that. Oh my god. Okay, so I've talked about the acting, I've talked about the writing. Fucking writing. Special effects. Here is one thing I am not going to bitch too much about. Outside of the fact that the RoboCop suit looked fucking terrible, but that honestly is more costuming than it is special effects. What is here in terms of special effects when it comes to robots, CG, like the various fucking, like, visor, you know, views on Robo, all of that looks awesome, alright? All of that is top-notch, amazing stuff. I am not gonna bitch about any of that, because it all looks fucking tight. It looks amazing. I loved it. Really, I can't complain about much. In fact, honestly, when they strip away the whole suit and we see that Murphy is literally just it's literally just this fucking part of his head, his brain, his heart, his lungs in one hand. That looked both amazing and gruesome at the same time, and the special effects for that shot were fantastic. And everything else in terms of CG and special effects were amazing. And just like the acting, it's really a pity that all of this is wasted on a script that is this fucking bad, because you're not going to be able to enjoy the acting and you're not going to be able to enjoy the special effects because the story is absolute pig shit. Okay, camera work is fine, the sound mix is good, the soundtrack, well, guys, they play the fucking Clash over the closing credits. We get treated to one of the best songs from Frank fucking Sinatra at one point. I found myself kind of singing fucking along to it because I'm kind of a fan. I'm kind of a fucking Sinatra fan, so yeah, that was amazing. And we do get bits of the classic RoboCop theme. So, you know, we have that, and we have a bunch of other songs, and all of it sounds great. Our score here is good, our soundtrack is good. Ultimately, guys, everything here works. Everything here works amazingly, except for that fucking writing. And the writing will bring down any fucking movie. I've said that numerous times in the past. Poor fucking writing is going to kneecap and destroy any movie. Alright, you can have an amazing cast, you can have fantastic special effects, you can have an awesome soundtrack, you can have great camera work, you can have everything you can have everything come up fucking aces, but if your script sucks, nobody's going to want to look at any of it, and it's going to fall to pieces. Now, if you are one of those people, though, who's into mindless bullshit action films and you don't care about plot, then you're gonna fucking love this thing, because it's built for you. It is built for the person who wants senseless, mindless bullshit action. Mindless, plotless crap that you can just sit down, turn on, and just shut your fucking brain off. And, you know, as appealing as that is to some people, that is not RoboCop. Never has been, never will be, and that's what makes this all the more insulting. Again, if this thing were not called RoboCop, if it went by almost any other fucking name, I would probably just write it off as a mindless, plotless action film, and I wouldn't think too much about it. But when you put the RoboCop name on something, you are kind of sort of expected to live up to the standards of the previous films. The previous films had a high focus on satire and strong writing on top of their fantastic and amazing action. And that's where this movie fumbled. It fumbled on the writing, and that, to me, makes it unwatchably shit. But again, that's because I like plot with my action. Sue me. So, yeah, if you honestly are a fan of plotless action films, then this thing here is perfect for you. Rock and roll, check it out, you are gonna fucking love it. As for me, I'm not keeping this thing. It is not worthy of a spot on my shelf, especially since it would have to sit right next to the 3 good RoboCop movies, and that just feels wrong on a whole host of levels. Am I able to recommend this thing on a personal level? No. However, once more, if you are a fan of plotless action films, rock on. This thing here is going to be perfect for you. Now, good God, $7. I spent $7 on this fucking thing. Spent $7. I was at least expecting something good. I knew for a fact it was never going to reach the pinnacle of awesome that is the original RoboCop film. But god damn it, at least I was expecting something fun. I was expecting something cool. And instead I got, a whole lot of awesome shit that gets kneecapped by terrible writing. And that, honestly, guys, is probably one of the biggest sins a movie can pull, is you have a bunch of great shit which falls to pieces because there's nothing to hold it all together. Anyway, I'm going to go watch RoboCop. The real RoboCop. The good one. Then I'm probably going to watch RoboCop 2. Then I'm going to watch RoboCop 3. Because all three of those are good, and they're all better than this fucking thing. This thing is just a waste of 2 hours to me, and there's zero chance I am ever going to recommend it under any circumstance. Anyway, guys, with that, we come to the close of another reaction and review. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care, and I will see you all in the near future. Peace.